Hey everybody, Kay here, and today I am visiting somebody I've really wanted to meet for a while, and I just haven't been able to get myself down here. I am at Hills Mills Homestead with Mickey Hills and his wife Kathy, who's behind her camera. You're going to meet her in a minute, but first we got to wipe off some sweat, right?
Yes, it is hot, Miss Kay. It's 102 degrees, 115 heat index.
And what is the humidity though?
The humidity,
300?
it's off the chart,
Yeah,
off the chart.
300.
We would like to say welcome to you, Miss Kay, and all of your viewers and family and friends to Hills Mill Homestead. Glad
Yes.
you stopped by.
I love the way everybody, I haven't been in the South for 40 years until I recently moved back, and everybody calls me Miss Kay, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you still get called Miss Kay.
This is true. This is true. You know, we do have an old saying.
You have manners, for one
Well,
thing.
we do have some manners. We try to show those.
Yeah.
But we have an old saying here in the South.
Yeah?
Come on down. We're going to treat you so many different ways. You're just bound to like one of them.
Right. Well, listen, we're going to have a little chat with Mickey and talk about electro-culture, because everyone said, Kay, you got to get into this. You got to get your copper coils and learn about it. And I said, oh my gosh, this man lives in Middle Tennessee. I'm going to go there and get it from the horse's mouth. So stay tuned.
Even though you're a few miles up the road, we're still neighbors.
I know, we're neighbors.
We're all neighbors in Tennessee.
It's just one big rock we're living on, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just let me have a slurp of this cold iced tea, all right?
My goodness gracious, it's just wringing sweat out of everything that we have, and can't keep the sweat out of our eyes. So it's terrible today.
Whew. All right, everybody. I just wanted to, for a minute, for you to get to know Mickey, because he's new to YouTube.
True.
How new is it?
We're about 15 months since we made our first video.
So in 15 months, and you have
About 22 videos now.
22 videos, and how many subscribers?
We have a little over 12,000.
Yeah, and they've been online for 15 months.
Yes.
And you're not even doing it full time because you're
Oh
working.
no, goodness gracious. We have the Sawmill, and we have our hands in other things, and so we're completely covered up all the time.
All right, let me go back a second.
Okay.
Tell them about you. What's your background, and
Well,
how did you wind up here?
So I have lived in this county all my life,
Okay.
and as a youngster, I lived with my grandmother, and that's pretty much how I got my start in growing anything. It started in the wintertime with her with flowers, and then in the spring we prepare for a garden. And that's really where it started with me, with my electroculture.
Okay, we're going to get into that.
Yes.
Oh, but yeah, because you started that at 16, right?
At about 16, yes, middle school.
Okay, well just jump ahead and say how you got to have a mill and all of that.
So I left high school, joined the Marine Corps. I traveled a little bit of here and there around the world, and came back home.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for your support to all of our armed forces.
Yes, my father.
Yes. But came back home, went into construction, and I've pretty much been a carpenter and a woodworker all my life. I've always loved to build something, anything to do with touching Mother Nature, just feeling Mother Nature. That's the way I describe it. And so I've always lived in this county, and I've always pretty much had to go out of county to really get a decent job that was paying decent, and that would be in Nashville, the big city. So I've had a couple of businesses in Nashville, and 2015 I decided I wanted to get out of that rat race. Just to be honest with you, that's what I felt like. It was a rat race.
Mm-hmm.
So I purchased this land and started building a little cabin, and decided I wanted to get off grid as much as I could without really being off grid. I have electricity and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But getting away from where I was at and having more freedom. Freedom.
Rings.
Now it does. It rings loud also.
In your head, and
Yes.
So you say I, and where did Kathy come into the picture?
You know, actually, me and Miss Kathy met a long time ago, about 35 years ago.
Okay.
When I was in FFA in high school.
In kindergarten. Okay.
Well, in high school, I was in FFA. Miss Kathy was the FFA queen in her school in Fairview.
Oh.
So we had every year we were always doing something, FFA, 4-H, but we'd go to the state fair every September.
Yeah.
And so me and Miss Kathy, we kind of ran across each other for a brief little time, and we didn't even realize it until we met again in the past few years ago.
Okay.
But Miss Kathy was my mail carrier.
No kidding.
Yes. And so that is how we met. The
Fantastic.
second time. The second
Okay.
time. And
So
then,
how long have you been here?
so I started this place in 2015, about 7 years, 7.5
okay.
years,
Okay.
and have literally done all this, 90% of this by myself. By
That's
myself.
amazing. That's
and
amazing.
the amazing part is, as you've seen, as we'll look around, there was not one level inch of property on this place. I moved all of this and made it level.
Right.
And I've got about a half an acre that's level. So it took a while to do that, but you know, it was just
Especially since we're sitting on limestone, right?
absolutely limestone and chert. If you're not familiar with chert, come to Tennessee.
Nobody has ever heard of chert outside.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you want
My sister lived on a chert road.
Benny.
And this is Benny.
Benny got to go.
So Benny had to go. Where did Benny go?
Well, he went back into the. You know, actually, we keep him in the orchard.
Oh.
And, you know, we see a lot of videos where folks are having a hard time with squirrels, coons,
In
and
the
everything
orchard.
else coming into your orchard.
Yeah.
Deer.
Yeah.
So we solved that. That's Benny's home
Oh,
is
that's-
in the orchard. So we keep him fenced in. And last year, the squirrels got all of our peaches, all of our apples, everything. This year, no. Benny's took care of that.
So I need a Benny.
So there is a benefit to having Benny in the orchard.
Everybody tells me I need to get a dog, but I
Well-
don't know how I could control them.
You just have to.
So you got to train them.
You do. You have to train, and then it's the breed of the dog also. You know,
Right.
you want it to.
Right.
There's a lot of good breeds.
Well,
for a
it's so
homestead.
hot and everything. So just tell us about how you got into electroculture, how you came up
Well,
with
once
this
we started
design.
talking about when I met Miss Kathy, I just lost it all.
I
so I couldn't tell you.
I know. Miss Kathy's something else, I gotta say. Tell us about this, how you came up with the design, how you started when you were, tell
I
us when you
started. I started when I was about 16 at my grandmother's in the cold winter. I got into her bookcase and I found an organic book, and I was reading about how you grow different vegetables and this and that, and I ran across a chapter talking about electroculture. Now, I'd never heard of it, but I didn't know that it was something that no one else knew either. And actually, when I went overseas, I was fortunate to visit a few different countries. And the very first thing that I noticed, because I like to garden, and I'd been gardening with my granny year after year, and I love gardening, and I got to noticing that terraces and fences and containers and raised beds everywhere I went overseas. Lebanon, I went to Israel, I've been to Italy, France, Egypt, several different countries.
You saw it all,
A
everywhere.
lot. But everywhere I looked, everyone had a small garden, and they utilized every inch in that garden with some sort of an antenna, a wire, a trellis, everything. And it just, I didn't make the connection at the time. Now that we're connecting to Earth more than we have before, I understand now, because electroculture was in France. It originated from France. 1748, I believe, was the first written document about electroculture. So I picked up on that. And ever since I've ever grown a garden, I always tried to introduce some sort of electroculture. And I started out with the wire baskets or the cages for tomatoes, and make them out of a regular farm fence. We'll look at them here in a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys at least I think it's the best tomato cage basket that you can have.
Well, I saw that video of yours, and you're talking about from the fencing.
From the farm fence,
Yeah.
yes. And
Is that the welded or the woven?
it's the welded,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. The welded, yeah. Mhm.
Yep. And I've used those 25, 30 years, and I picked up on.
They're not rusted.
No, they're not. Well, these that I've got now are probably 10 or 15 years old, but
Oh.
it takes a long time for them to rust. But in the wintertime,
Okay.
I come in the barn and get them out of the way.
Oh, I see. So
Yes.
Daryl, you know my friend Daryl.
Yes.
He's had his for 35 years, and they're all rusted.
Yeah, yeah.
But he puts them in the forest in the winter.
There you go. So the zinc will rust, but the zinc is not really bad for your soil because you need zinc in your soil. You don't want to melt it into it.
I saw something interesting the other day. I won't be able to remember the channel, but I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. She was talking about canning her beans and putting zinc into each jar, and it keeps her beans greener. They don't go olive color after she's canned them.
Well, that makes sense.
So that makes sense about
Yeah.
the zinc?
Yeah, sure
Well, you
does.
know, my property is sitting on zinc, the zinc mine property.
Yes, yes.
So
So that's
I
why
don't know
your
if that
vegetables
helped
do
me
so
at all.
well.
I don't know.
You know, your terrain is like ours. It's pretty challenging to be able to find the perfect spot to
Oh,
have a garden or a raised bed.
well, in
and
a
everything.
mill and with this big thing, what do you call this thing?
Well, this is the actual wood miser sawmill.
Okay.
It's a band mill, but
Okay.
it is a sawmill.
You gotta have, it's gotta be flat.
Yes, everything
Is that
has to
sitting
be
on
level.
concrete?
Just sawdust. Sawdust and chert.
Church.
Chert. Yes, we have lots of chert.
But
around
you
here.
leveled it.
Yes, absolutely.
to
Yeah, it
level
has levelers on it, and so you have to maintain it straight and level.
I see, I see. Back to what you were saying.
Okay. So over many decades,
Yeah.
3 or 4 decades, and we'll see again in another part of the video where I use CB antennas. So a long time ago, I got to thinking about what was called a power coil antenna for a CB, and it's very similar to this.
Okay.
So moving forward, between Tesla, Lukvosky, his coil, and a power coil antenna, and everything that I've learned about electroculture, that is how that I have came up with this design.
All right.
And it works. It works for us. It works for, I mean, we get so much feedback, you know, testimonies, photos, emails, and so
Wow.
absolutely it works. And when Nikola Tesla passed away in 1943, most of this information disappeared.
Yeah, I know.
And it disappeared because...
A lot of information has disappeared.
Yes, absolutely.
Across all subjects.
But yes. But you can find research, and I will say this, Miss Kaye, it kind of tickles me. I've been doing this a long time, and I have told people about electroculture all my life. Here's how it started, and Mr. Danny will like this.
Yeah.
But we carried some lumber to Deep South Homestead to Mr. Danny, and I started talking to him about electroculture, and of course he knew about it, and he's
Oh, yeah.
does some methods of electroculture. And one day they said, well, you should do a video. And really didn't think a lot about it, but here is why we started a YouTube channel, is because of our children and our grandchildren. Because the years and years of experience that I have in
Right.
growing vegetables in different methods and different ways,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of thought that it's going to take you a long time to learn. And so instead of putting it on paper, we're putting it on video where it can be passed down.
Right, and it's great for video because people can see what you're
Yes,
doing,
yes.
and you're doing it while you're talking about it. They're
Right.
not just reading in a book and seeing a little
Right,
illustration.
right.
And if they were, they probably wouldn't show you the things that don't work. They would just show you what does
Right, just the
work.
good
And
side,
you
yeah.
you need both.
And that
right?
camera doesn't lie, so you're going to see the good and the
Depends on
bad.
who's editing.
Well, this is true.
Now tell me about how does the sawmill, is that a big part of your income? What kind of things are you doing? What are your projects?
So when I left Nashville, when I shut down my business and I started this, I've been around sawmills all my life, and you just can't compete with a bigger sawmill that has machines that moves the lumber and cuts the lumber. So you have to find a niche, and mine, as an old woodworker, I used to build 7-foot grandfather clocks 30 years ago with swinging pendulums.
Oh,
So I'm an old woodworker.
Wow.
I love wood. So that was my idea of a woodworker sawmill.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look around, you can see that I don't have stacks of lumber. I have fireplace mantles. I have table legs. I have all kinds of live edge material to make farm tables. So I am truly, yes ma'am, I am truly a woodworker sawmill. So in 2015, when I started this, and I will say this, I built this place, everything you see, which is what it is, one customer at a time.
Oh, wow.
A customer would come and make an order or buy some material, and
Now,
half of that would go right back into this place.
Were you trying to hold down a job at the same time, or did you
No,
quit to
no,
do this?
when I left Nashville, I was done.
And what about you, Kathy? Are you working full time?
No, I'm not
You
now.
retired?
Yeah, from
Okay,
the Postal
good.
Service, yeah.
So it's the electro-culture and the sawmill and whatever.
And farmers market, and
yeah.
we have a mill with an older engine. We had just put a video out on that. If you'd like to see it, you can go to our YouTube channel, Hills Mill Homestead, and see that video. But
the new grist mill, the
new
green
grist
one.
mill.
Yeah, you can't miss it. If you go right
And-
to his channel, it's the first one.
yes,
Yeah.
and so in the future we're going to be grinding. We're actually doing a show next Saturday. We're going to take it to. We've been invited to a show, and we're going to go visit. And
Can you put it on a trailer?
well, it's all mounted.
On a trailer.
Everything is mounted
On a trailer.
on the trailer.
All right.
Yes.
That's what Tim has.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And he did a lot of shows. I don't know if he's
Yes.
going to keep doing it, but
And so we're going to find that interesting, and we're going to talk to people about electroculture and everything that we do, even the lumber. And a
Right.
lot of people are always looking for a fireplace mantle because that's a hard item to find.
oh, I know.
But between, we're not necessarily going to go into the mill business. We're going to do it for friends and community and family.
Oh, good.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll send
I
you
want
a
a
bag
farm
or
table.
drop some off. We can do that too.
We can work that
yes,
out,
ma'am.
huh? I
Something
don't want it so heavy that I can't lift it, move it around.
something that you have to keep in mind. Two things actually. Here's your 2 points that'll save your back.
Oh,
If you're looking to get a sawmill, because a lot of people are and they own land and they want to cut their own trees and saw
Oh.
their own lumber, make certain, guys, that you get a sawmill that is hydraulic. Because if you don't have a hydraulic sawmill, every movement of that log is on you.
ooh!
And it is tough. It is tough.
I was just blown away when I saw that big, huge log just rolling up on that thing.
That's a pretty good sized log, but we had some bigger ones.
Well,
up
what
there.
I want to know is how you got the log to that point.
Well, I have
That's
a
what I
bobcat
want.
to get it closer, and then it's all manual labor to roll
Oh,
it
like with a
with a cant hook.
with a cant hook.
Yes.
Okay.
Cant hook.
Wow. Well, listen, we should probably go take a look at some of the coils in action. Now, we're late in the season, so we're not going to see lush green foliage.
That is correct.
We have had
This is the middle of August, and our tomatoes are just practically over with.
yeah, my helper was just telling me we had 25 inches of rain.
We had 1.5 inches yesterday morning here. And there he is again.
I thought that was the thunder. Hold on. We're going to go right outside and check out some
We're going to go over here to the raised bed where I have some peppers right now.
yeah, we're going to go check out the peppers.
That's either wind or rain. It'll be here in 60 seconds.
Hey, you guys, it is, listen to that. It sounds like
Storm
the
is-
ocean coming
Storm is coming. Storm is
in. Are
coming.
you sure that's not the Pacific Ocean
I hope it's
hear?
not a tornado. Y'all stand by. If the video goes out, we'll be back.
The weather app said sunny
Nothing.
all day. Yeah. So tell them about that real quick.
So this is a style that I use, guys, as far as a shepherd's hook, because I take advantage of everything that I have. And so I've got an antenna that I've made that I've got mounted to the top. The wire is clockwise down all the way into the soil.
Okay.
We were mentioning CB antennas earlier, and so these are some of the CB antennas that I use.
Okay. We're gonna
probably go get some shelter.
Can we pull that out and take it inside? No?
Nice. in there.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
We're gonna have to go inside. Whew. I had no clue what it is.
I know, and look, it's just like a shelf.
Yeah. Look how fast this moves.
Wow. It's what?
Severe thunderstorm warning.
But no tornado?
Not yet.
Not, not
Stand
yet.
by.
Oh, gosh.
But you
Not
know,
yet.
the temperature goes from like 89 or wherever we are,
Yeah.
down really low like it is now. That's
Yeah.
when you'll get
Well, Mickey, come over here. We might have to cut this a little short because of this storm, but tell the folks, for if people are interested in custom,
Custom lumber, specialty lumber, the species pretty much that are native to Tennessee is what I try to stick with. It's hard to a lot of people want cypress, and we don't have cypress in this area, and so
yeah.
our eastern red cedar is the same thing as a cypress.
How far do you take? Do you just finish the wood, or I'm not a lumber person, so
So basically,
what would they be getting? What did you take Danny, and why?
so he needed some lumber for a barn,
We're
just like
talking
this
about
one.
Danny at Deep
Deep
South
South Homestead. And that's what I was going to say earlier, is that it's Danny's fault because he's the one that suggested that
Danny,
we start a
it's your fault.
video YouTube channel. And so that's how that started. And we took Mr. Danny 2 or 3 loads actually of poplar lumber for his barn. And then we took him a few other pieces. We took him a fireplace mantle for their cabin. But basically that's what we do here. It's a specialty woodworker sawmill. I have blanks, turning blanks for platters, candlesticks, anything. So just about anything that you can saw out of a log, other than just normal lumber to send it down the road, this is what we try to stay with.
Okay.
Now, the most important thing to remember is when you get lumber, before you do anything with it, that lumber has got to be dry.
Oh, I know.
If it's green lumber, it's going to shrink, split, crack. It's going to do all kinds of crazy things. And so we have a kiln, and so we kiln dry the lumber.
Oh.
But keep that in mind, folks, that anytime because I see this a lot, and sometimes people don't know, but the lumber has to be dry. Yeah, we liable to get blown away here. But the lumber has to be dry in order to work it the way you want to. Now, I don't really do any planing and all of that unless I'm making something for myself. I don't do that for customers. Basically,
Planing.
planing, yes.
Planing.
True story.
Okay.
And so the edging and the planing and all that, I don't do any of that for customers. So everything here is just straight off the sawmill.
Okay. Except for me.
Well,
And you're going to build me a
special
farmhouse
friends and
table,
family,
right? 'Cause
friends and family, we take care of them. man.
Everybody knows I'm not very good with
Yeah.
tools. So
But yes, we'll take care of them. Sure
awesome,
will.
because you could bring the wood up there and it'll still be sitting there in 5 years. You know what I mean?
Well,
No
we don't want to
table.
do that. We
No table.
want to make something out of it. Yeah,
I
for
know.
sure. Go ahead and get it
I know.
completed.
I know. I asked my brother if he'd make me one, but he didn't want to. So. Well, listen. How can people get a hold of you? Hills Mills.
Hillsmill.com. That's our website. And our YouTube channel is Hills Mill Homestead. And guys, we'd appreciate it if some of your viewers came over and subscribed and checked us out and checked out our
I was just going to
videos.
say that. He took the words out of my mouth.
But we do a lot of challenging gardening as far as pretty much terraces and raised beds, but
And drip irrigation. You
Drip
got
irrigation.
that going on. I need to do that.
yes, absolutely. But we do have a good garden. You know, we for the amount of area that we have a garden, we grow a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
We're about to get wet.
Well, is it going
If
to
it-
blow in the side
well, it
here?
shouldn't, but
You never know.
maybe not.
This glass blows in. Is that glass or plexi?
Glass.
Oh,
It's good.
it's
It's
good.
been good so far.
Okay. So you sell at the farmer's market?
Yes, we this year we've been selling vegetables at the local farmers market, and in the future we plan to have our own market on our own place, and people can come and
But you're looking.
yes, we are. So we have this place and we have another place, and eventually we're going to combine that into one piece of paradise.
Okay.
And so that's our future.
Yeah.
We want to grow more. We want to be able to expand into some other areas. But basically, we want to grow more vegetables and grow more food. That's the key to it, guys. Grow more food. The more you can grow for yourself, the better it is for you. Stay away from all the fertilizers the best you can. And that's another great thing about the electroculture. I don't use any fertilizer. None.
Oh, wow.
Zero.
Manure?
Zero. Rabbit manure, worm castings, and compost.
Wow.
That's all we use here at Hills Mill.
What,
And
what about, do you use fungicides?
so I do use a little neem oil on aphids when they really get bad on the tomatoes. But if your plants are healthy, that's a deterrent. But the electroculture is also a deterrent for some pests.
Right.
And as far as
Leaf diseases.
leaf disease and the blight, it doesn't prevent it, but it certainly slows it down.
Okay.
And you can see that for yourself by just adding an antenna to close to one of your plants.
Do you think it's worthwhile for me to get everything set up this late in the season?
Well,
Not for tomatoes.
with the weather we're having, I don't know how to answer that.
You see what we're dealing with here. It was
This is
supposed to be
Tennessee.
sunny.
Yeah.
And you can barely hear us. We're yelling.
Yeah, we're looking for flying objects around here also.
Yeah, there've been a lot of those in the news.
Yes. We found a grip.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us. I hope we get together again soon. I'm Kaye. I'm very grateful that you joined my channel today. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell for notifications. Scroll down and click all so you won't miss an exciting episode where we get blown away.
Yeah.
Right here in Middle Tennessee. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Did you start with the longer one on top and the shorter one on the bottom? Okay. So he put the pole in here. Did it fit perfectly in here, the pole?
Yes, just slip it out.
And I'll put the link for where I got the poles on Amazon, and I did not have any clue that an 8-foot bamboo pole would be that big and uniform. I was very surprised. Anyway, it fits in here, and then he attaches a little piece of wire to it and comes down, and then he hooks into this hole right here. And then as you're going down, you're going, let's see, you're going clockwise all the way down, right?
Yes.
And when you get to the bottom, then you do 2 or 3 at the very bottom, and then you bend it back and you stick that in the ground as far as you can. And you feel like it brings the electromagnetic static
Well,
electricity.
it's bringing electrons.
Come over here. I can hear you.
It's bringing electrons from the natural electricity that's in our atmosphere.
Yeah.
Some people call it ether. It has some other names, but it's in our atmosphere.
Ether?
So, yes.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yes. So about every 1.5 feet from the earth is a natural volt of electricity, all the way to the ozone. The higher your antenna, the more it's going to receive. So the idea behind the 6 foot, 7 foot is for an orchard, and that way it's going to encompass the tree of the effect from the antenna being tall enough, bringing in the electrons. The electrons that are coming in through the antenna, and you're going to put the end of it in the soil, and the electrons are just going to, think of it like a really good heavy dose of Miracle Grow every day, because it's going to enhance.
Well, I don't use that, but
Well, I don't either, but when I was a kid selling Greek newspapers, I sold Miracle Grow. That's the first time everybody ever heard of it. This is in the mid-70s.
yeah.
But so when you have the antenna in the soil, the electrons are going to boost all the microorganisms that are already in your existing soil.
Yeah.
So this is not a fix-all.
Yeah.
But you can't just take an antenna and put it by a plant and say, why didn't it just grow spectacular? So everybody should know that you've got to start your basics with a good soil.
Yeah.
It needs to be the right NPK and all that. Then,
Let me get him. Kathy, come over here. We didn't even get a chance to look at you. Oh, come on. Say hi at least. Come here. Come here. Can't see you back there. This is Kathy.
here we go, folks. This is Miss Kathy.
He's the brains of operation.
Well, might be part of the brains, but the rest of it is all YouTube. So it's good.
Awesome.
But our electroculture absolutely works, and you can find a lot of research. And that's what I was going to say earlier, is I really love the fact that there was not many videos of electroculture on
And now
YouTube.
there are.
Now they're everywhere.
Oh my gosh!
And we
I didn't
really-
even know
we
which one to
really-
watch first.
We really
After years of
get a kick. Sometimes we'll watch a video and boom, I'll be in their video.
So he's going to cut me 20 pieces, and I'm going to wrap those. They've got one wrapped, and I'm going to do those at home. And also, since he's got the right gauge copper, and this is pure copper with no coating on it, right?
100% copper.
100% copper, because I saw that.
And it's a 12 gauge.
Yeah, it's 12 gauge, 100% copper, no coating that you use. And since he's got the right copper and he buys it in bulk, I'm going to get enough for some shorter poles, because the longer poles are great for the orchard or great for your taller plants, your corn, whatever. But then you've got all this stuff closer to the ground. And so a 4-foot pole would do how much of a radius, would you say?
4 foot?
Yeah, well, it's going to be 3.5 once it gets in the ground.
Yeah, you're talking about maybe a
6
5 or 6 foot radius.
5 or 6 feet. So I think for my peas, I might just do the shorter poles, save on the copper.
But if you put the coil directly in the ground, it's so one is 3 foot.
Yeah, I
So
know.
those that have the
Right, if you stick the
raised bed.
coil, you can stick these little coils directly in the ground and you get 3-foot radius. So anyway, it's not too late. I've seen on YouTube a lot of people are going, you can grow these crops in August.
Need that tape. But I got plenty.
Rain has slacked off a little bit, and I just wanted to see the beans that I heard about. The beans still look good. We're getting towards the end of August, and most things are kind of winding down, wouldn't you say by now?
Just about most of our garden is winding down. Being in the middle of August, it's so hot.
Yeah.
But we're going to give you let you take a look at our beans. Don't let it be said that you can't grow beans in
Wow.
August
Those look
in a
fantastic.
container.
How many seeds did you
Three seeds per container.
did you get 3 plants out of each
3
seed?
plants. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So,
Oh, they
yeah, they're
they
just
look
loaded.
beautiful.
They're loaded.
Where are the wires, the coils?
We don't have to find them. They're in every other one.
Oh, I
And once
see.
they start growing, that
Oh,
one
I
probably
see.
has one because it's so large.
I see. It's down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the same thing over on the peppers. We have one in here, and then every other one.
They look pretty healthy.
They're doing okay, but this heat is taking a toll on everything.
Oh, I know.
It
I know.
really is.
I think you're just a little bit hotter here than I am.
I don't know, but it's hot. It has been hot, miserably hot. But I think we've picked from here down. But gosh, they're just taking off. A lot of people ask what size these are. So these are about 45 gallon.
They are?
Yes. And then these are about 25 gallon on this side.
Oh.
And these are, from what my experience, these are good for your peppers, eggplant, not a big plant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily grow tomatoes in them, but the key to the
You could.
success in all of it is that drip system. Because if you're growing in a container, you're just about going to have to water it every day.
Because it's too hot, right?
It is. It's too hot.
Is it because it's black?
And the black container, it absorbs the heat and
Yeah.
absorbs all the rays, and
But
so
you
it's
never
very difficult.
You never see anything but black nursery
I
pots.
know.
Why
you
is
can
it?
order them, but I'm not sure. I don't know. You can order them white, but you rarely see anything other
They
than
never
black
stay
container.
white.
Yeah, they don't stay white very long.
You still got blooms, so
Yes,
you
we're still getting plenty of peppers.
This is pretty. What is this one?
So those are all banana, just a sweet banana.
What do you usually do with banana peppers?
Salads and chow and just
Oh,
salsa
chow chow.
and just
Does Kathy have a good
on.
chow chow recipe?
Yes. Well, she'll find one.
I haven't made chow chow since I've been here. I should.
But lots of salsa. We
I
like
have so
salsa.
many peppers. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to
And
do
all
with them.
those tomatoes, you can see that our tomatoes are about gone. There's
Yeah,
a few of them that are still okay, and
it's too much
just-
rain. It's
it's
just
just-
too much rain.
it is. It's too much rain and too much heat. And my goodness, we've had, for the past 2 weeks, I know we've had 10 inches of rain, it seems like.
I know. I don't feel so bad now seeing this. Have you ever used the sulfur spray for fungal issues?
Now I've got the copper
Copper, I
fungicide.
mean,
Yes,
copper.
I've used it before, yes. But last year I've only used neem oil, and this year I haven't even used any neem oil. I found aphids when they were first coming out, and I just went in and smashed them with my thumb. Never had any more issues with aphids.
Okay.
The tomato worm, I use a black light to find them, no problem. I saw a few army worms in the tomatoes, just got rid of them.
Yeah.
So I've not really had, this
Just-
year, not very many problems at all with pests.
Just squished. So when I'm looking at all these brown droopy leaves, what is that? Is
So
that
that's just the dying effect, that's just natural. That's just natural that
Okay.
it's doing that.
so that's not late blight or
No man, that's not, I mean there was blight in it, but it's just natural that it's gonna do that.
okay.
Just like the jet stars that are so tall, you can see how everything is dead, and you look up and it's green with tomatoes.
I know.
That's just natural.
And so why do you prune the jet star? I saw that on your video.
So I love the jet stars as a slicing tomato for sandwiches, and so when you prune them, you're gonna just get one set of tier of tomatoes that are big tomatoes. And if you just let them go and not prune them like the Amish paste, they're just gonna be sporadic. But I like getting the big tomatoes with the jet stars. And that's
Okay.
that's how I do it, is to prune them and drive all the energy to one stem.
Tell me about the jet star. I've never heard of that.
Well, I first started growing a jet star, oh my gosh, 3 decades ago, if not longer.
Wow.
And I get everything from the Amish community not far from here. And that's one of their favorites is jet stars.
Wow.
Between jet star, which is a indeterminate, and then they love the mountain fresh, which is a determinate. So that's their main 2 tomato varieties that they grow.
Here, switch umbrellas with me. I think I'll be able to see your face better.
There you go.
Hey!
more normal.
Why didn't I think of that sooner?
But so I just love the jet stars, and I've grown them for so long. It's just natural.
Wow.
They're a little bit less acidic, which
I like.
can also mean that it has more sugar, which lowers the acid rate. So that's part of it. But
So
it's-
if you
it's
can them, does
natural.
that change the acid that you have to add, or?
I do the same with the jet
Oh.
stars as I do the Amish paste.
Okay.
You know, as far as the acid goes.
And when you can, when
And
you
now, with the change in the label and the diluting of the vinegar, the 4%, you got to watch that.
what are you talking about?
Well, they've lowered the percentage of the acid in vinegar.
I did not know
Yes, you got to be careful. Used to, you could go get the 4 or 5% on and on. No, they're changing it and diluting it now.
So-
you got to be careful.
that. So you're talking about the canning vinegar?
Yes.
The
yes.
pickling vinegar,
Well,
I
just
mean.
any vinegar, it has a certain percentage of acid in it.
Oh, I
Well,
see.
there's some that doesn't, but
What about the apple cider vinegar?
the apple cider, same thing.
Have they changed
it? needs
it?
to have a certain percentage of acidity. Yes.
But have you noticed that they've changed that one?
I haven't bought any lately because I stocked up a couple years ago.
I did too. These beans look fantastic for late
Well, it's just
August.
unusual to grow them in the middle of August. And this is really the first picking that we've got off of them. This little old poor looking plant is because my drip tape ran out right here. There's the end of my drip tape.
Oh,
So it never got any water.
oh, it doesn't
So
look that bad.
Yeah, so it's half the size. But in our other raised bed, I've got yellow squash. I'm gonna have a late season on the yellow squash.
Do you recommend this weed cloth?
Absolutely.
You do.
Greatest invention since a cap. Yes, ma'am.
Since the baseball cap?
Any cap.
That's saying
Yes,
a lot.
ma'am. I have used everything you can imagine all my life, and up until I discovered the fabric, I used layers and layers and layers of newspaper with straw on top of it and
Oh,
wet
I
it
know.
down so it doesn't blow away.
I know.
And I did that for years and years.
I know.
Until I found this landscape fabric, and it is the best thing. I take it up at the end of the year. So this out here is actually
Oh.
5 years old. So I roll it up at the end of the season.
Even with holes in it.
Yes, ma'am. And then I put it right back in a different location and just reuse it all again. We didn't make it to our apple trees.
Oh, let's go.
They're about gone. We've been picking them, but between the birds and Japanese beetles, they have really taken a toll on them.
Oh my.
They have really taken a toll on them. But these, I believe, are the Granny Smith.
Uh-huh.
And these are these are smaller ones, but they're really good eating.
If they have spots on them, does that matter?
It just depends on how deep that spot is. You know, it's like a tomato. Just cut that spot out and don't want to use anything that's brown.
Yeah.
If you're going to can it or cook it.
Right.
And this is the same one. Now this has got some little better size. That one has a little better size.
So the green spots don't matter.
No, 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 no.
Do you peel them
Here's
before
what I
you
want you to see.
preserve them?
Sometimes I peel them, but the peeling, I eat the peeling too, as long as it's not got a bad spot.
Yeah. There's a wasp on one of them, but
yeah,
that's
you've
rotted.
got to watch these. This is a different variety. I was.
Yeah, you
trying-
got some wasp over
but
there.
Yeah, the big hornets. But look what the size of these apples.
Yeah.
Nice ones.
Except the rain. It looks like the rain smushed their. Is this bees?
Yes.
We walked right in the bee path, flight path?
Yeah, they're not in it. They actually.
Oh.
I have them over here on the hill.
Oh, okay.
But that's a big apple.
Wow.
Big apple.
Is that your chicken?
Yes.
Rooster?
Yes.
Wow.
Australorps. I had spotted a humongous apple I was going to show you, but I don't see it now. But whoa, it's got all kinds of bees. But pretty good size apples. These trees are 5 years old.
Wow. You don't have any cedar around here, huh?
No, ma'am. The
How
only
did-
cedar I have around here goes on that sawmill.
I see.
If you need some cedar, I was going to send some home with you.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? My raised beds all need rebuilding this year, and I don't know who's going to do that, but
So I've got more peach, more apple, fig trees, plum trees.
wait. Well, where's your thing? Your antenna?
Below the apple tree
Oh, I
on that
see.
shepherd's hook.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me get a look at it. We didn't get to see it before.
But I like those shepherd's hooks.
Let's see if.
Kind of a dual purpose.
Where do you get the shepherd's hook?
Well, you know, I actually yard sale or estate sale is the best place to get them.
Oh, really?
Yes, you can pick them up $5 a piece sometimes. I think I bought 30 at one place.
Oh my goodness!
Sure did.
You've used them all probably.
I've used pretty much all of them.
Well, gosh, thanks for showing me around.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope this is helpful to everybody. And we'll be seeing more of Mickey and Kathy, I'm sure, up at my place, right?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. We're
When
going
you
to come
do-
by and visit, absolutely.
When you deliver my farm table.
Farm table.